But you never looked into his face, did you? You never saw his eyes. You never saw that nothing, no expression, blank. My memory goes back 12 years. I prayed that he would burn in hell, but in my heart, I knew that hell would not have him.
Happy Halloween, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed these videos over the past month. I made a lot in the 8th annual Halloween special. I had a really good time doing it, and I hope that you guys found some solace in them. I know I certainly did filming them. It helped me a lot, and that's why I did so many of them. With the pandemic, I had a lot more free time this fall. I normally go to Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando with my wife every year, but obviously this year we weren't going to do that. So I was able to bring you guys a lot more videos, and this year... we're talking about Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. Oh yeah, we're in the shit now. 1 year after the events of Halloween 4, the Shape returns to Haddonfield once again in an attempt to kill his now mute niece. Spoiler warning for Halloween 4. At the end of that film, Jamie walked up to Michael Myers' supposedly dead body and touched his hand, and a transference occurred. This film recaps that as it begins, and you realize that a year later, Jamie's now mute, and she seems to have a strange connection with Michael. She gets psychic visions about where he may be, is able to help Dr. Loomis, once again played by the great Donald Pleasence, to track him down as he murders a bunch of useless teenagers. Halloween 4 existed to bring Michael Myers back into this franchise. Halloween 5 exists to keep making movies. There really isn't much of a reason for Halloween 5 to exist, except for the fact that at the time, every slasher franchise was booming. There were tons of these movies constantly. And Halloween 5 is definitely not the worst in the Halloween franchise, but it's easily one of the most boring. It was directed by Dominique Othenin-Girard, who made these movies before this. Somehow he got to direct Halloween 5. Having those credentials. I don't miss that aspect of the 80s. I really don't. Right off the bat, one of my biggest issues with this movie is that after Michael crawls out of this pit, after he was shot multiple times by the police, he runs into this old guy and collapses in his house. Then we're told that 1 year has passed and Jamie is now in a hospital under constant care. This is where we start seeing that she has some sort of mental connection with Michael. Now we cut back to that old guy who rescued Michael, and Michael wakes up. I guess the old guy has just been caring for Michael Myers for a year? What? The filmmakers this time around expected us to really not give a shit about story. Halloween 5 is one of the most plotless of all of them. There isn't a driving force. It doesn't feel like there's much of a ticking clock for anything that's happening. Loomis is trying to get information out of Jamie for the majority of the movie, and some of his scenes are very creepy and awkward, with him threatening this small child and getting really close to her face right in front of her nurse. Loomis comes off like a senile, creepy old man in this movie. In fact, one of the older teenagers even refers to him as a creepy man, and I can't really blame her. The movie tries to do two things: explore this new connection between Jamie and Michael, which really doesn't make much sense at all and is barely explored, and introduce a subplot with a tattoo on Michael's wrist, as well as this man in black boots with silver tips, whose face we never see. This all builds to a cliffhanger that sets up Halloween 6. So in a way, Halloween 5 has nothing to offer this franchise. There isn't anything that happens major for any of the characters. There's no revelations. There's really no reason for Halloween 5 to exist. It's true. I thought about it. It exists to be a feature-length trailer for Halloween 6, which itself isn't all that good either. So, yay. The film is also very awkwardly edited. There's sequences where some of the teenagers are talking and they feel very peppy and excited. And then there'll be a very harsh cut to a different scene with a completely different tone and feel. It doesn't feel like there's a transition of emotion. There's a scene where two characters are walking around and they're talking about their boy crushes, and it cuts back to Jamie in the hospital having these visions of Michael. The edit is handled very poorly, and the introduction to Michael watching them in the bushes is honestly laugh-inducing. That's another problem with Michael in this movie. He's just not scary. For whatever reason, after 2, and of course I'm excusing 3 from this, They forgot how to make Michael Myers look good. They forgot. His mask was so clean and perfect in 4, his shoulders were often hunched upwards. He doesn't look intimidating or imposing at all. And in this film, for whatever reason, they have the ends of his mask hanging out of his shirt collar for the whole movie. One of the reasons that the first 2 work so well is that that mask kind of looks like skin. You never really see his eyes. It's underneath his shirt collar. It just looks like that's his flesh. This movie disregarded all of the creepiness around that and just had his mask hanging open for the whole movie, and I fucking hate it. I know that could be thrown away as a nitpicky complaint, but I don't feel that way at all. Of the iconic horror characters, this has got to be the cheapest fucking costume ever. It shouldn't be this hard to get it right. Similar to 4, this film ditches the beautiful wide look of the first 3 films and is mostly handheld, and there's barely a memorable shot in the movie. There is but one sequence in Halloween 5 that I think is pretty good, and it's when Jamie is trapped in the laundry chute. She's crawling up and down it as Michael stabs inside the chute. But the film also has some of the weakest scare sequences in the franchise, like this very long barn scene where these teenagers find kittens. And then there's like 4 false scares throughout this entire sequence, where one of the really annoying teenagers dresses up like Michael Myers.
She's a virgin.
Got her phone number?
This entire sequence is a massive waste of time, and it's so long. And there's kittens. Why is there kittens? I don't understand that.
Oh my God!
I'd like to talk a little bit about the character Tina and the film's strange choice to give this character so much screen time. She's almost the secondary lead, honestly. She's in the movie so much.
It looks so good.
And I've also always hated that Tina shows up to this house. The dog is barking. The dog's the smartest person in this movie, by the way. And that dog is like, Michael Myers is in that fucking house, girl. Do not go in there. And she's like, shut up. I'll give you some water later.
Chill out, Max. I'll get you water in a second.
And then later she just leaves and says some shit to the dog.
Oh, Max, shut your canine trap.
She never gave him water. The dog's thirsty. He needs to drink. Why didn't you give him water? He's a dog and he's trying to help you out, man. As already mentioned, maybe the second worst thing to happen to the Halloween franchise after Halloween Resurrection is this cult development that occurs later in 6, but is set up here. It's the beginning of the end of this franchise as far as I'm concerned. It's just a massively stupid idea. And it's one of those films where you can really feel the screenplay dictating everything the characters do. It doesn't flow in a way that feels natural. You can tell the writer is like, and now I want them to go there. Because Loomis shouts into the woods to Michael, Michael, go home, Michael. We'll be waiting there for you, Michael. Go home, Michael. Goodbye. Oh, bye, Michael. And that's exactly what Michael does, because they want the end to take place at the Myers house, which, by the way, looks nothing like the Myers house. They didn't even try to make this look remotely like the Myers house. It's completely different. For some reason. One of the reasons I like the first Halloween so much is that it looks like a regular neighborhood. It looks like a neighborhood you might drive by and see. This movie is like, no, we have to have this really cool movie house that you don't see in every neighborhood because that other one was just too simple. Look, this is what Hollywood does. They take something that works and they have to change it. Even though it was working just fine, they have to change it. Because they're like, no, we have to change it. And we're like, no, you don't. And they say, but we have to. And that's why this movie's bad. Also, this film has one instance of some horrific ADR. There's some really bad dubbing at one point in this movie with a cop character. I never noticed this before until I was watching it tonight. I watched the Blu-ray. And my friend and I just like, what the fuck? Holy shit!
We just had a distress call from the clinic. They haven't been able to reach them again. There were 4 men up there.
Did they just really hate the way that actor sounded? Because every single one of his scenes is clearly not his voice.
Charlie, can you read me? Looks like one of ours. It's a code 2. Hey!
Halloween 5 doesn't have that much that I can recommend about it. The laundry chute scene is kind of tense. There's about 5 minutes of the movie that are okay, and that's about it. This was the beginning of the end for the Halloween franchise. I'm gonna give Halloween 5 a D. Full transparency, one of the reasons I made so many reviews this month was because it was therapeutic. This has been a really fucked up year, and I know a lot of us are dealing with anxiety. A lot of us are feeling a lot of pressure right now, and there's so many crazy things happening in the world every day, and making these videos this month was really just calming for me, and I hope that I was able to do that for you guys too. I had a really, really fun time this year, and I can't wait for next Halloween. Guys, thank you so much as always for watching. I really hope you check out the rest of the videos I made. There's going to be a link for a playlist here in a second. I'm very proud of all of them. I worked hard and did a lot of research for all of them, and I hope you guys enjoyed them. Thank you guys as always. If you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.